best friend disappeared after attending a billionaire-only party. I disguised myself and went there, but what I saw still haunts me, and I wish I never did. My name is Obina, but most of my friends call me Obi. I am not from a rich family, but I try to live a simple and happy life. My best friend is Emeka. We have been close since our university days, almost like brothers. We even share the same apartment. Emeka has always been more ambitious than me. He dreams big, sometimes too big. One Thursday morning, while we were having breakfast, Emeka told me something that changed everything. He said he was going to attend a special party with a friend of his. According to him, this party was no ordinary gathering. It was an event where only billionaires, politicians, and famous people were invited. He said his friend promised him that if he attended, he would meet people who could change his life forever, maybe even offer him a job opportunity. I could see the excitement in his eyes. Things had been rough for Emeka. He lost his job months ago, and since then, he had been struggling. I was happy for him when he told me about the party, even though it sounded too good to be true. On the night of the party, Emeka looked like someone else. He wore a shiny suit, had a gold wristwatch, and even rented a fancy car. I stood there watching him get ready, and I could not stop laughing. I called him Borrow Borrow, and we both laughed so hard. For a moment, I thought maybe this was the start of something new for him. But that night, when he left, I never thought it would be the last time I saw him. I stayed up waiting, expecting to hear the sound of the car pulling up in the morning. But Emeka did not return. At first, I thought maybe he had gone somewhere with his new rich friends. But as hours turned into days, my worry grew stronger. By the third day, my chest was heavy. I tried to call him, but his phone was switched off. I called the friend he claimed invited him, but the number never connected. That was when the fear started to settle in. A week later, I was going crazy. I searched every corner of the city. I went to the police station, but they only told me to give it time. Give it time? How could I? Emeka was like my brother. 2 weeks passed. No word. No sign. His bed was still made exactly the way he left it. His shoes still by the door. It felt like he had vanished into thin air. And then something strange happened. One evening, as I walked back to the apartment, I noticed an expensive black car parked near our street. Inside, 2 men in dark suits were watching me. The moment I turned to look properly, the car sped off. Wait, what? I whispered to myself. Why were they watching me? Did it have something to do with Emeka? That was when I realized whatever Emeka got himself into at that party was bigger than anything I could have imagined. And now, somehow, I was part of it too. After weeks of sleepless nights and unanswered questions, I made up my mind I would disguise myself as a billionaire and attend the next party. If Emeka disappeared there, then the truth had to be inside those walls. I wasn't rich, but I was desperate. So I faked my identity and bought a gate pass. It cost me more than half of my savings, but I didn't care. By the end of the month, a week before the party, I started preparing. I rented expensive clothes, polished shoes, a gold wristwatch, even a sleek car. I practiced my accent in front of the mirror, telling myself, act the part, Obi. If they believe you're rich, you'll survive. Star. When the night came, I drove to the venue with trembling hands. The hotel was rented specially for this occasion. Outside, flashy cars lined the driveway, Bentleys, Ferraris, G-Wagons. My little rented car blended in well enough, but still, my chest tightened. I stepped out, adjusted my suit, and forced a smile. Inside, the party was alive. Billionaire men and women filled the hall. Champagne popped, strippers danced, music blasted. The air smelled of perfume, alcohol, and something darker. I told myself to relax, to feel among star. I made my way to the bar and ordered a glass of wine. As I sipped slowly, an elderly man joined me. He wore a white agbada with heavy jewelry, and the way others nodded at him told me he was important. He greeted me warmly, and I returned the gesture. Soon, we were talking like old friends over wine. At first, it was harmless, but then, he started talking about his business. He bragged about moving money around, bribing officials, laundering millions. I pretended to be impressed, asking small questions, and he answered carelessly like he had nothing to hide. We even laughed about it. But just before he left, he leaned closer and said something that made my blood run cold. Asterisk, don't forget the main gathering. That's where real men meet. That's where the real deals are sealed. Star. My heart almost stopped. I acted like I already knew about it and said casually, asterisk, of course, I'll be there. Asterisk, he nodded and walked away. Trying to calm myself, I headed to the bathroom. But on the way, I saw something that twisted my stomach. In one corner, women were being exploited by some of these rich men. They treated them like objects, dragging them into private rooms. My fists clenched, but I forced myself to look away, pretending it was normal. I couldn't blow my cover. Inside the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall. As I tried to steady my breathing, I overheard 3 men talking. Their voices were low, but the words hit me like knives. One said, asterisk, the last party didn't go in my favor. Star. Another replied, asterisk, that's because Alhaji Musa goes extra miles. He traffics girls, he sells organs. That's how he keeps his wealth. Star. Then the third man chuckled and asked, asterisk, did you see how the last party ended? Star. The other 2 answered in unison, asterisk, there was loads of massacre. Star. I froze. My body went cold. My missing friend, Emeka, was this what happened to him? I never believed true evil could wear a suit and tie. But that night, inside the underground hall, I realized I was wrong. The hotel above us was all lights, music, champagne, and strippers. Men in flashy suits were spraying money, women were dancing half-naked, and luxury cars lined the entrance. But what I found beneath the ground, it was something else entirely. The meeting was held in a hidden room. It was built in such a way that you'd never know such a place existed unless someone brought you there. The thick walls muffled sound, the low ceiling pressed down on you like a coffin, and the air was damp with something metallic, like blood. We sat in rows, dressed in black gowns with red stripes. The fabric itched against my skin, but that wasn't what bothered me. It was the silence. The kind of silence that feels alive, like the room itself was waiting to swallow us whole. Then he came. A door opened at the far end and a man walked out slowly. His presence froze the air. His eyes were cold, piercing, inhuman. They called him Emeka. The moment his name echoed across the room, my heart dropped. His voice was deep, like it carried centuries of curses. He didn't rush. He stood before us with his hands folded, as if he already owned our lives. And then the ritual began. We were cautioned. This gathering never leaves these walls, Emeka said, his eye sweeping the crowd. To betray us is to sign your own death warrant. His words clung to my skin like sweat. I whispered to myself, stay calm. Just stay calm. 2 men dragged a young lady into the hall. She was bound with rope, her mouth gagged, her clothes ripped to almost nothing. She stumbled, knees hitting the floor, eyes darting around the room in terror. She was so young. Maybe 20. Her tears made lines across her face. The moment I saw her, my stomach turned. She wasn't just any girl. She was chosen. Emeka lifted his hands. This woman, he said slowly, is pure. Untouched. A virgin. And with her blood, wealth shall flow. Businesses will expand. Doors will open. Our enemies will perish. The crowd clapped. Some smiled like demons. But me? My blood ran cold. The girl's muffled cries filled the room as she kicked and fought, but she was no match for the men holding her down. Emeka raised a long silver sword, the blade gleaming under the dim red light. He looked up at the ceiling, muttered words I couldn't understand, then brought his eyes back to us. She deserves to be cast into the darkness. And before I could blink, he thrust the sword through her ribs. Her scream was short, sharp, then silence. The sword came out slick with blood. Her body twitched before collapsing, her face frozen in horror. And then, in one swift move, Emeka swung the blade across her neck. Her head fell, rolled across the floor, stopped in front of me. Her dead eye stared straight at mine. I almost screamed. Almost. But I forced my lips shut, my hands gripping my robe so tightly that my nails cut through the cloth. Blood spread across the floor, the air stank of iron and death. Some men were laughing. Others began singing a hymn, low, guttural, demonic. I swear I heard voices that didn't belong to humans joining in. They dragged her headless body away, leaving behind a trail of blood that glistened like oil. My stomach churned, bile rising. I wanted to run, but my legs were stone. And then, Emeka's eyes landed on me. For a second, I thought my soul left my body. His stare was sharp, like he could see through my skin, peel away my thoughts, and expose the truth: I didn't belong here. My breath caught. My body stiffened, but he didn't say a word. He just smirked. The ritual ended with chanting, then silence. Emeka raised his hand. "We are dismissed." We filed out slowly. I forced myself to walk like everyone else, but my legs were trembling. Inside me, fear screamed, "Get out! Get out! Now!" I slipped into one of the en-suite bathrooms, locked the door, and leaned against the wall. My chest was rising and falling so fast I thought my ribs would snap. I bent over the toilet and vomited. The taste of acid burned my throat. I flushed quickly, trying to erase any trace. But then, I froze. The door creaked open. 2 men walked into the main room. I held my breath, pressing my ear to the wall. Their voices carried. Emeka's body was well disposed, one said casually. "Emeka. My best friend." The second man chuckled. "Yes, the river hides all secrets. Nobody will ever find him. He thought he was getting a job. Fool." My hand shook so badly I almost dropped my phone. Rage mixed with fear in my chest. My best friend, murdered by these people. I couldn't just leave. I needed proof. When the men left, I wiped my mouth, splashed water on my face, and stepped out. My eyes scanned the hallways until I spotted it, the CCTV control room. If I could get the footage, I'd have evidence. I slipped inside, closing the door softly behind me. The room was dim, monitors glowing with live feeds of the hotel above, men spraying money, women dancing, champagne pouring. But when I checked the archives, nothing. All footage from previous months was gone. My chest tightened. They wiped it. Without proof, nobody would believe me. These men were powerful, untouchable. I almost gave up until I noticed a folder tucked in the corner of the screen. Suspicious. I clicked it, and there it was. Footage from last month. My heart raced. Someone had hidden it. I didn't know who or why, but I wasn't about to waste the chance. I connected my phone and transferred everything. Every second. Every scream. Every face. I pulled the cord out just as the door handle turned. I ducked behind a shelf, heart pounding, lungs burning. The CCTV operator walked in, humming. He sat, stretched, and yawned. I pressed my hand over my mouth to silence my breathing. Seconds felt like hours. He opened a drawer, pulled out gum, and chewed noisily. Then he left again. I exhaled shakily, wiped sweat from my forehead, and slipped out unnoticed. The party was still wild upstairs. Strippers danced on poles, men tossed cash into the air, music thundered. I blended in, forcing a fake smile, nodding to the beat. My mind was screaming, "Don't run. Don't act suspicious. Just walk." As soon as I saw people leaving, men stumbling drunk, women clinging to arms, I joined the flow. Out of the hotel. Into the night. I thought I was safe. But I was wrong. On my way home, I noticed headlights behind me. A black Mercedes-Benz. Too close. Too steady. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. I pressed the accelerator. The car matched my speed. My heart pounded. Then, without warning, they overtook me. Swerved sharply. Blocked my path. I slammed the brakes. Tires screeched. My chest hit the wheel. The doors of the Mercedes flew open. Men in black stepped out. I didn't wait. I kicked my door open and ran. I sprinted off the road into the bush, branches scratching my arms, mud soaking my shoes. My lungs burned. I expected footsteps behind me, voices chasing. But there was nothing. Just silence. I didn't stop. I ran until my legs gave way. Collapsed in the dirt, chest heaving, ears straining, but no one followed. Still, I knew it wasn't over. The next morning, I went straight to the authorities. I told them everything about the underground hall, the ritual, the virgin sacrifice, my friend Emeka's death. They didn't believe me. Some laughed. Some looked at me like I was insane. I left, defeated, rage boiling in my veins. Back home, I made a decision. If nobody would listen, I'd create my own record. I sat in front of my phone and recorded everything. From the moment I entered the party to the moment I ran into the bush. I detailed Emeka's name. The river they dumped his body in, the faces I saw. The files I copied. I hid the recording in a secret compartment in my apartment, along with the CCTV footage. Because I know the truth. Those men, they're coming for me. And as I speak, I hear footsteps in my living room. They found me. If you're watching this, pray I survive. I thought I had uncovered their darkest secret. I thought my recordings would bring the truth to light. But what happened next? I never saw coming.
Obina? We traced him back to his apartment. Beat him till he couldn't stand. Stabbed him till his body gave up. You think he walked out alive? No, we made sure he didn't. We stuffed him inside a traveling box, tied it to a stone, and sank it deep in the riverbed. His organs? Some were already taken. He wasn't the only one down there, his friend Emeka was waiting for him too. But we got greedy. On our way to sell, they caught us. The footage from his room, the CCTV, everything was there. That's why I'm talking to you now, behind bars, waiting for death. If you're watching this, please subscribe for more stories.